The title of the talk today, Beyond Cost Recovery, Mindful Print Solutions. You heard Kevin talk about being mindful in our choices and in how we print. So I'll center around that mostly. But I'd like to start by welcoming you all to the first ever Pharos User Conference. And more importantly, to thank you for your interest in the conference and to thank you for being customers and partners for all these years. So, for now, I'd like to do something that's a little more fun, little prize to give away at the end of it. If I could have one person from every school that's here stand up. Just one. I got a couple people standing at 15. And up front we have Thomas.
Yes.
From American University. I know your data. I know you're at 15. And you, sir?
University of Notre Dame.
Okay. Okay, we will, okay. So what we'd like to do is to recognize each of the universities. We have a special gift. Where's Susie?
Right here.
Oh, there we go. So what we've decided to provide these people with is something called a Fitbit. Anybody familiar with those? Some of you may even have them. More importantly, it's a device that allows you, if you're going to start living a healthier lifestyle, it's a device that allows you to actually start with some data. And if you recognize that you have to change your lifestyle to get healthier, then you need to start with some data, and you know that it starts with monitoring exercise. You might have to change how you eat. And some things, like Kevin said, change only really happens at the point of despair and hope. So a device like this helps you get that baseline data. And in the same way, in the same exact way, right, that's how we start with mindful printing, right? We start with real data. So today I'm going to explain a little bit about what's behind, take Kevin's keynote down a little level, get a little closer to ground with it, and share with you how we think about mindful print solutions, the business that we're in, what direction we're going with our products. And let's get started. I'm going to start with a question. Anybody wager a guess what MPS stands for out here? What's the common interpretation of that? Managed Print Services, thank you. In fact, Google says there are 86,200,000 results in Managed Print Services. And thanks to Google, we now know that Managed Print Services is the active management and optimization of document output devices and related business processes. However, that's not the business that Pharos is in. So to help illustrate that, I've got a short video. And if you'll bear with us while we switch.
The roots of making print the way it should be go back well beyond just the last 2 years. It goes all the way back to Paul and Jeff solving the first printing problem at the University of Auckland. Pharos was the first company to recognize that people print, and that fundamentally we're talking about changing people and giving them the tools to help them do so.
That's how Pharos is defined. Working with other people, discovering things with other people, having the open mindset with other people.
We at Pharos like challenges. We love challenges. We love problems. We love creating solutions.
I think Pharos is capable of solving the largest problems any of our customers could face, even those they may not know of.
We need people who are going to have an open mind, a mindset of discovery to find these best solutions.
To me, the core problem that Pharos is solving is really it's a respect for people, it's a respect for the environment, it's a respect for resources, mindlessness, the art of going through life not really paying attention to what it is that you're doing and the impact of what you're doing is a problem no matter what field you look at. And print is certainly one of those.
We want people to think about their print and realize that every time they print it has a cost.
There's a lot that goes into mindful printing. It starts from the infrastructure and then reaches all the way out to the end users who actually do the printing. Has to be mindful right straight through.
Because paper is hard to secure, it's hard to manage, it's painful it's costly to create, and it's costly to destroy.
One of our clients saved $20 million a year starting in their second year of their contract with us.
Some of our companies are doing billions of pages per year. And if you can both reduce the quantity to just what they need and reduce the cost of that significantly, then that's a big win.
Being mindful means not just being mindful at this point in time, but building the systems and the infrastructure and process that's going to keep print well managed, not just today, but into the future.
Print is changing. The reason people print is changing, and the way people print is changing.
A couple of years ago, I was talking to several of our engineers, and I asked them, if you were to design printing, knowing what you know today, if you were to design printing the way it should be, would you design it the way it works today? And their answer was quick and pretty emphatic. No, absolutely not. We would not design it this way. So we gave them a challenge, which was, let's go design print the way that it should be.
The solutions of tomorrow don't necessarily come from whatever you were doing yesterday.
How do we free ourselves of our biases and try to get at what is at the root of what this customer is trying to tell us?
The way we solve customers' problems today is not necessarily going to be the way we solve customers' problems tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be building upon new services, new technologies, new techniques.
Let's use the latest of what the technology world has to offer. Let's use all of the understanding that we've built in our 20 years of working with customers for how they want print to work. And let's build print the way it should be.
Hopefully you weren't shocked by any of that. You heard some of it in Kevin's speech, and you've experienced a lot of it in years you've been using our software. Mindful Print Solutions, the business that we're in, the MPS. When I say MPS, I'll use lowercase MPS. And so it's worthy when we talk about this to make sure that we all have the same level of understanding of what that means. So at your university, your college campus, what does it mean to be mindful print? So let's talk about it one word at a time. Let's take mindful. Mindful, to be awake, aware of the impact, aware of the ramifications of the choices that we're making, as Kevin had so eloquently put before, the Coke can of water to make one single sheet of paper. Print, we're still talking about putting ink and toner on paper, but we're talking about essential print. How do I get out of the habitual print, the stuff that I do because I'm not thinking about it, it's just what we do, and get down to just the essential print, and the print that's printed securely, it's under control. And lastly, solutions. Solutions being an answer or result, and in our case, we have to balance a number of components that we deal with every day. So in the mindful print solution space, the components we deal with, we start with devices. The devices that we all know and love on our campus. And these devices have to be, I have to have the right number of them, I have to have the right feature set, I have to have them in an optimized state so the utilization rate's up. Those things are the first part of the picture. And to that mix, you heard Kevin say that from Pharos' perspective, for the beginning of Pharos, when we started, that we know that devices don't print, people do. And it's been said that if you're not addressing the behavioral aspects of printing, you're losing out on 50% of the print volume that is out there, that is habitual. And finally, we have infrastructure. I don't know if I were to take a poll today, is anybody out on your campuses asking for more servers, more infrastructure? I'm thinking not. Yeah, I think it's quite the other way around. So when we talk about a mindful print solution, it's just not a download and done experience, right? There's a bunch of things to balance, and if I were to take and when Kevin talked about the Coke can of water, and we did that program with Coke, once the employees started to become aware, right, that awareness, that mindfulness that we're talking about, the print volumes dropped, okay? If you drop print volumes, one of two things is going to happen. If you're balancing these components, either you need fewer devices, or the devices you have, the feature set and whatever, have to be repositioned around your campus to produce an optimal result in how they serve. And some of you may be looking at I've just got a small portion of our college campus, but we'll be talking later how our products in the future will be addressing a broader spectrum of opportunity for you. Okay. So at Pharos, this is what we believe. We believe that the best solutions come from a mindset of discovery. So when we talk about best, we don't mean that we know. This is not something that we are going to say, here's the recipe, here's what you have to do. This is something we have a lot of experience with. We have guidelines. We have over 3 million seats under management on the corporate side. I'm not sure what the number is in the higher ed side of how deep we reach, but we've got a lot of experience. So, but we don't have the answer. It's not like do ABC and you can get this. This mindset, and best is always constrained, right? Best is always constrained by time and money. If I had a perfect world and I had all the time I needed and I had the budget, I could make this, a wonderful experience. The realities of it, we're all constrained by those things, and that comes back to bite us. So this mindset, this belief in discovery is why we started the Pharos community. It's why Lindsay is at the heart of our community and now flipping slides for me. This is also the inspiration of what drove this conference, right? Each one of us from Pharos hopes to learn as much from you at this conference as you do from us. So within the business of mindful print solutions, we talk about directionally, where are we going, right? And so you're here to figure out where Pharos is going. This is where we're going. We are all about making print the way it should be, and not the way that Pharos thinks it should be, but this is about making print the way it should be for your campus. Again, it's a journey. There's not a one and done, a download and done solution here. We do it together. We need to explore your space together. We bring our experience, you bring the uniqueness of your institutions, we do this together, and we come up with the best solution. Like I said earlier, there is no single recipe. It's a set of common ingredients. We know that there's devices and people, and we put those together with the technology and the software in a manner that provides us with the best solution. We have to set goals, much like with wearing that Fitbit. If you're going to live a healthier lifestyle, you've got to set some goals, otherwise it's just data. And most importantly, coming up with a strategy that can take you down that path and climb that mountain to making print the way it should be at your institution. So now we take Pharos. Okay, how do I apply Pharos to the world of print and higher education? I've been on a number of campuses. I hope to get on a lot more. I'd love to come visit your school if the opportunity arose. What we find, and this I'm sure heads will nod, that it's a daunting environment. In fact, you've probably heard this said, but a college is a collection of independent contractors linked by a common parking problem. Anybody heard that one? And a common pizza shop. And we would argue also a common printing problem. I've got the dean of this and the dean of that, and don't bother me about my print. That's my print. I've got a budget to stay out of my hair. I see some heads nodding. Yeah. And that's what we hope to shed some light on. We hope to bring to bear some tools in our product direction that will allow you to take this mindful printing solution that we're providing to a higher level. Because the reality of it is that maybe 10% of the print that happens in higher ed is the cost recovery print. There's the back office, what the staff prints. There's implants. There's commercially outsourced print. There's all kinds of print that happens on a college campus. Very little of it does Uniprint touch directly. So you're saying, okay, great, let's get there. Give me some tools. So, with our experience, these are some of the questions that we would ask if we were on your campus for you to think about. Beyond the cost recovery piece, some of the questions we ask in the corporate world. Do you know what your employee to device ratio is? Is it greater than 8 to 1? In other words, fewer devices for fewer people or for more people. Do you have less than 8 models or less than 3 vendors on your campus. If not, you have issues in managing that fleet. Do you understand the utilization rate of those printers? Is it uniform? Is it optimal? How much of your print is actually duplex or could be? And that's where policy and stuff comes in. Do you know who prints in the back office and why do they do it? We know that some of it's habitual, but who is it? Is it this department? Is it this department? 2 people with the same job? We're going to show you some tools that will help you with that. What applications drive print? Are they printing out of browsers, Word, Acrobat, and so on? But the bottom line is you need tools to provide real data, and we take that real data and wind that into a series of steps that actually deliver a meaningful strategy. And everybody in here who's got a budget, when I spend money on something like an investment in print management, wants to know, how did that pay me back? What return on my investment did I get? So one of the things we're doing at Pharos, we have this core belief, this discovery belief, and we're using a process. And I would suggest that this process helps get us off the mark and take that first step in our walk to make print the way it should be. So we start by setting an objective, and we follow that up with a session on discovery. What are the possible components of a solution? Some people would say this is brainstorming. The critical part of that is who's in the room helping you figure out what the best solution is. Do you have the right people? Oftentimes we take a task on ourselves, and there's other people who have the knowledge that you need, thank you, to pull together actually some options you hadn't thought about to reach a best solution. The next thing we do is we commit, and too often, truth be told, this is probably true almost anywhere I've been, we commit without knowing who has to commit. Who are the people that have to commit? If I'm in a card services office and I want to do something different, who has to commit other than the people that just own the budget? Don't forget about the end users who are part of the behavior change you're trying to affect. And then we go through and we actually say, okay, it's time to execute. We follow through. We determine if it meets our objective. And here's the part where you've got to celebrate, right? If you install a solution and you can show in the reports that you're knocked down print or you've achieved this objective, whatever that may have been, take the time and tell people that you've met your objective. And then review, right? So now I've taken one small step. I've taken data. And when I review, let's share that experience. And finally, if you start to add these little steps, and each one is a goal in and of itself, think of it as climbing a staircase, right? I've got to deal with devices, users, and infrastructure. What are the ones that I could attack first? How do those things work in balance so that I can set goals, and each goal having a specific ROI, I can share that experience with others. I can benefit from the experience of, for example, this community here. And eventually come up with an end-to-end strategy that allows me to take action, to move forward, and to share my success. So, directionally, I hope you've got an idea of the business that we consider ourselves in, and that there's a bigger opportunity for you on your campus to take Pharos solutions into the back office and beyond.